What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. We're going to go over the event on Kerr Lake. It was a good and a bad and a horrible one all at the same time. Sadly, I don't have any video. I still didn't have a GoPro yet. I just bought a new GoPro, so in the next events, I will have some footage. I know it's way more interesting if I actually have footage to show you guys of us actually catching them. Yeah, so I've never actually caught any fish at Kerr. That's not true. I've caught fish, but I've never had a good event at Kerr. And I finally put it together and whacked them during this tournament. But let's go ahead and fast forward to the end of the day. So I'm sitting at about 12 and a half pounds, and my boater's sitting at about 14 pounds. We got 25 minutes left until weigh-in. So my boater's like, all right, let's head back. So we sit down, strap everything in. He shifts the boat into gear, and nothing happens. He shifts it into gear again, nothing happens again. Shifts it in reverse, nothing happens, and he's like, we might be in trouble. And I was like, is it just not catching? Like, I've heard where sometimes the shifting thing in there just doesn't catch. And so we opened up took off the hood of the motor. He was taking a look while I was shifting it into gear. It looked like it was catching, everything was fine. So then we trimmed up the motor and the prop was gone. There was literally no prop. So he looks at me, he goes, if you want to weigh your fish, you better wave someone down. And the first bass boat I saw go by, I tried to wave them down. They just totally ignored me. Another bass boat came by, I waved them down. They came, but they were fishing another event. So they were like, yeah, we can't take your fish back. We got our own weigh-in to get to. And then our little recreational boat stopped, and my boater hopped on the boat with them, just left me with his boat. And he went back to the ramp. And so there's about 10 minutes till 3, which was our check-in. I called the tournament director. I'm like, hey, I'm a co-angler. I'm stuck out here on my boater's boat. Is there anything I can do? And he was like, you can still weigh in if someone from the tournament comes and picks up your fish and brings them to the weigh-in. I was like, okay, I can still weigh in then. He was like, yeah, as long as you're in by your check-in time. And I was like, well, I've got 10 minutes until my check-in time, but there's no way I'd make it in time. And he was like, well, it's too bad. Just let me know when you get off the water safely. So I was like, kind of, I don't know. There's nothing really to say back to that. I just kind of was blown. I didn't even know what to do or say. So I trolled over to the marina that my boater told me to troll over to. Eventually he picked me up, and I put my fish back when he got there around 4:15. I kept my fish in there because something in my head was like, you know what? Maybe I'll still have a shot. Like, maybe he's gonna find someone that's gonna pick me up and like let me weigh. I don't know what I was thinking. I literally couldn't believe it was happening. But these are my fish. I'll show you. I'm sitting here with the hood off at the marina that he ended up picking me up from. So that sucked. I think 12 and a half won it. He was pretty convinced that I would have won, my boater. I'm not sure if I really had more than 12 and a half. I think he was probably right at 12 and a half, so it would have been really close. So obviously I missed out on a win or second place. Probably would have been AOI leader. Now I'm in 57th. So it hurt. It hurt really bad. But there's still a lot of positives to take away from the day. I caught a ton of fish, and I will go ahead and go through with you guys how we caught those fish to an extent. It's something that I don't want to give up too much because I'm going to come back one day as a boater. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to run that pattern, and I'm going to catch them. I know that, it sucks that I didn't get the win or whatever, but I took so much information out of this tournament that I'm going to use in the future. Now it's like a week and a half later, I don't feel good about it, but I feel better about it knowing that. So my buddy and I got out on Friday to practice, and it wasn't terrible. I was expecting it to be really tough, which it was tough, but we actually caught a fair amount of fish, just a lot of shorts and 14, 15 inchers, just fishing points with a little swim bait that seemed to be pretty good out there. A shaky head on the points, caught a couple fish. We roamed around some areas with some bushes that still had some water on them, and there were definitely some fry garters around. that you could pluck one every now and then, but it wasn't really anything substantial, no big fish. So I kind of went into the event thinking I'm just gonna throw a little swim bait all day, maybe drag a shaky head, but I really like throwing that little swim bait around because I can cover a lot of water, and just try to pluck keepers throughout the day. That's kind of what I was thinking. I think I knew the weights were probably going to be low. If you could just catch 5 fish, you're going to be in the mix. So that was my plan. I talked to my boater. He was like, he really didn't tell me that much. He's just like, yeah, we're going to go fish. Basically, I don't know. He didn't really give me that much. So yeah, I just figured I was going to throw around a little swim bait all day, and that was going to be the deal. So tournament morning, we pull up to the first spot, and I can see that the shad are spawning on the structure up there. And I'm not gonna lie, my boater was a little bit older, and he had been recovering from surgeries that he had gotten and stuff like that. So when I saw the shad spawning and stuff, I was like, oh man, like I am about to put on a clinic behind this guy. Like I'm about to be skipping this up all in this structure, like a little white chatterbait, and I am going to be plucking these fish in areas that he can't get it to. And oh my gosh, was I totally wrong. He was the best fisherman I've ever seen in my life. I've never been on a boat with someone that could efficiently put the bait wherever he wanted every single time. Like I'm okay. I mean, I would say I'm pretty good at skipping forehand, backhand. Like I'm on the back of the boat, so I don't get to choose my angles. So either way, I can skip pretty efficiently. But he was just on another level than me. The little underhand, like literally perfect every time. So I was like, oh my gosh, like my mindset switched right away. I was like, all right, I can't fish for the same fish as him because he's just way better than me. I'm not going to get it anywhere that he can't get it. So in the first hour, he's getting it way up in this structure where the shad are spawning, and he starts plucking fish. And as he's doing that, I was like, well, if he's going to target the fish that are really up in the structure, I'm going to target these edges, because any of the fish that are on the edges looking out or waiting to ambush something swimming by the edges, he's probably skipping over and not going to get. And it actually worked out pretty well for me. We both walked out of the first area with 4 keepers. So I kept up with him. He did catch the bigger ones, but I think I had 4 for probably about, oh man, like 7 pounds maybe, something like that. Maybe a little 7.5. But what I was doing when he was skipping up in there and I was just fishing the edges was, and I've never weighed in a fish on a spinnerbait, and ironically enough, I still haven't because I didn't get to weigh in that day. But I was throwing this little deal around the shad spawn, and I really liked it around some of this structure. I bought it specifically for this event. If I can get this undone. All right, we got that tangle out. This Megabass spinnerbait. I'll drop the link in the description to Tackle Warehouse so you guys can see exactly what it is. I don't remember what the name of it is. But yeah, I bought it specifically for this event because I figured the shad might be spawning. And you see that it has these little blades. They don't catch a lot of water. It's also a 1/2 ounce, so it's pretty heavy. And then I just put a streamlined trailer on the back. And the reason why I wanted those little blades with kind of a heavier 1/2 ounce head and a streamlined trailer was it's not getting any drag. So I could burn this thing along the edges, on the surface, around the bushes, around the docks, anything. I could wake it, then let it fall, and it'll fall quick, and burn it around. It was just, I just thought it was perfect for the scenario. I mean, you probably could have caught them on any spinnerbait, honestly, but I think that definitely gave me an extra leg up. So I caught all my keepers, first 4 keepers on a spinnerbait, that exact spinnerbait. We then made a little move to some areas that where the shad spawn was probably happening, but it already stopped because it stopped where we first started. But we kept running the same stuff, basically. I kept throwing the spinnerbait along the edges. I caught my 5th, probably put me up around 9.5 pounds. We keep fishing along, same stuff. I catch another one on the spinnerbait, call out one of my 14.5 inchers. And then it kind of got slow a little bit as the water started to slick off and the shad spawn really died. Like you didn't even really see any following the bait back anymore. And so I switched over to a Senko and made 2 big calls. I mean, I guess they would have been big calls. They didn't end up being worth anything. But I was just skipping the Senko up under there and let it sink slowly. And I think some of the fish that had started to die down from the shad spawn that weren't looking to aggressively chase were willing to eat the Senko. So that was kind of a good adjustment. And it was 2 big calls because I called out another 14.5 incher, and then I called about a 15.5 incher. So my smallest fish was maybe 16 inches. My biggest fish was probably 3 pounds. So I didn't have any big ones, but I didn't have any small ones either. It was just a good bag. And that was pretty much it for the day. We didn't catch any more fish after the first 4 hours, honestly. We made a move to another area to try to put some bigger fish in the boat because he was at like 14 and he was like, I need 17 or something like that to win. So he was like, let's make a move and go try to find a big one. Didn't work out for us, but there was so much to take away from those first 4 hours. I mean, we caught so many fish. Like I said, I called 3 times, and I can't tell you how many shorts we caught. I mean, he was just throwing back 15 inchers that he was catching over and over again. It was actually an incredible day. But in my recent video at Smith Mountain, I was talking about how I was going to try new hooks on my wacky rig. I was also looking for new hooks on the drop shot. Still haven't really come to a conclusion with that one, but I need to here soon with the James coming up. But so that wacky rig, I started using this hook here, this Stinger. What is that, a size 4? And it's a small hook. You probably even go up a size bigger. But I think it worked really well. I'm not kidding. The last fish I caught, my biggest fish, it penetrated through his lip and then went all the way through. So he was sliding up and down the line. I couldn't even get the hook out. I had to cut it and retie. So I think that hook's a keeper. I will probably stick with that. I would definitely recommend it if you like wacky rigging. And that's pretty much all I got for this event. I definitely would say if you're not around that shad spawn, you're probably not around all that much fish unless you're out there live scoping brush piles. That's the only other thing I could think you could be doing, because during practice, we definitely fishing points, just kind of blind fishing them and stuff like that, and the size just wasn't there. So yeah, if you're at Kerr Lake during May, I would definitely say look for the shad spawn. If you're not feeling too confident that the shad spawn's going to last all day, the sun's going to pop out the day that you're going to be fishing, definitely spend some time live scoping around if you have live scope. If you don't, you can side scan, look for brush piles. I think that's the 2 deals that were going on, and that's what I took away from the event, and I will definitely use in the future there. So that's it. Thanks for watching. I will have video at the next event, unless my boater tells me I can't bring my GoPro, but hopefully it doesn't happen. So we'll have some video for you guys next time. But thanks again for tuning in. Leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.